Happy New Year and welcome to Home Media Minefield presents Let's See What's Out There Plus, a weekly live stream and podcast currently focused on Star Wars: The Book of Boba Fett, which is available to watch on Disney Plus. In today's episode, we are going to have a spoiler-filled conversation around the first two episodes, which are actually down as chapters of the Book of Boba Fett, which is Chapter 1, Stranger in a Strange Land, and Chapter 2, The Tribes of Tatooine. Now, if you're new to this, then welcome. I really appreciate you joining us this evening and seeing what we're all about. If you find this sort of thing interesting, please do consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. And if you hit the bell notification, you'll get reminders of all of the type of work that we do on the channel. But while you're here as well, please take a look around at what we've also done previously. We have covered the other Star Wars live action show, which was The Mandalorian. We did cover that as a podcast. But as I said, we're now doing things as live streams. We've covered some of the Marvel shows before, and we thought we just had to do this. So we're playing with the format. We're trying some new things out. If you happen to be watching live and you want to get involved in the live comments, then please do so. But obviously, if you're finding this after the fact, you can still put comments in the section below and we will get back to you. Now, my name's Keith Isles. I am an independent filmmaker and content creator, as well as a lifelong fan of film and television, and in particular, amongst many, is, of course, Star Wars. So looking forward to delving into this, but I'm not doing it alone. I am joined by guests. I'm going to try and get different guests on each week, but joining me tonight, I have filmmaker and self-named mega geek Ian David Diaz.
I didn't self-name myself Mega Geek.
Did you not? Who named you Mega Geek?
One of my friends called me Mega Geek, and I kind of thought it was quite nice, so I kind of stuck with it, I guess. Not really a Mega Geek. I'm pretty sure you know more than me when it comes to stuff like anything really, pop culture. My brother knows more than me as well. My brother he lives in Canada. He usually fills me in certain things that I don't even know about. But I'm happy to wear the title. That's all I can say.
Well, there you go. And you're appropriately dressed for it, of
course,
well, because you have your Boba Fett T-shirt, which somebody nice got you clearly, and you got your Darth Vader headphones.
Yeah,
and you're raring to go.
I am indeed. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we're not alone on this journey, though. We are also really pleased to welcome back. They've been guests before on Let's See What's Out There. They are filmmakers, documentarians, and they run a YouTube channel of their own. Please welcome to the stream Anthony and Claire Bueno.
Hello. Good evening. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. This is actually, yes, the first live stream that this channel has done in 2022. So, we're
honored.
Off to a stellar start.
Nice mug.
Oh, there you go. I thought I'd have my Yoda mug, which was actually a Christmas present from my mum.
That's nice.
She'll be watching this.
That's lovely.
She's the one viewer that we've got.
Give her a plug.
She doesn't even watch Book of Boba Fett, so there you go.
Does she know who Boba Fett is?
She does, yes.
Oh,
So she'll know that because as a child, as a kid, we'll go a little bit down memory lane here before we kick off. I obviously used to get Star Wars action figures, the toys. You know, I'm very pleased to have grown up in that time where we had that. And you know, my parents used to do me proud. They didn't have a lot of money, but I used to get most of the action figures, and then occasionally, for a birthday or Christmas, I might get a vehicle or a play set or something like that. But I know, Ian, you've got this thing about you always wanted the boxing robots set, and you never got
them. I got them
until you're an adult. Yeah, I had a similar story where I always got the sort of 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures. I'm sure you guys probably Anthony, you might have had some as well. Yeah. But they did have a range. Oh, here we go. Chewie.
My very first ever Star Wars toy was this one here, my Chewbacca.
And you took it out of the pack. It's not worth anything anymore.
The story is our headmaster, if you'd done particularly well at something, he would take you into his office and he had a chest and you'd sort of like, then he had like all these.
Oh God, that sounded.
I know
it's going to go the other way.
It sounds so bad, but it was a nice toy chest. So you go in and there was like all kinds of stuff, and there was Chewie, and I don't even know if I was aware of Star Wars or what it was, but I saw Chewie and picked it out and then found, and that's how I discovered Star Wars. There you go. And it was this wee figure, and it's like he's going on my little display over here. So there he is.
Yeah, well, it was back in the days when toys weren't collectibles. You actually played with them, so I was grateful for that. But I always wanted. Some of the kids in my neighborhood had a range of 12-inch Star Wars figures as well. And the coolest one of all of them, in my opinion, was the Boba Fett figure. I never actually got it. I had the 3 3/4 one, but I never got the 12-inch one. And it was brilliant because it had like, a removable rocket pack and, a scanner for its eye. And, it even had Wookiee braids and stuff as well as a cape. It was very cool. It was very cool. But there you go. What about Claire? What about you? Were you a big into Star Wars when you were a wee girl? Yeah.
I was into it as much as that I used to go to Toys R Us and get very excited about buying Anthony presents of the Star Wars toys. That's how I really know about it. And I used to wrap them up. I used to buy 2 toys. And I used to wrap them up in such a way that, and you would instantly like guess what I'd bought you, and I'd be really excited. So I kind of really, I think, I know more about buying you the toys as a child for Christmas and your birthday, and then you had the AT-AT and the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, blimey. You were spoiled, Anthony.
Yeah,
I really was.
And I tell you what as well, I worked in a certain shop. I call it Shamley's. Most people know it as Hamleys. And I am quite happy to say it was a dreadful place to work. And but they did very good deals for people that work there. And I got you your drone fighter.
I picked up the X-wing drone.
Yeah.
Which is it's really good fun, that.
Yeah, no, it is good. Oh, and I've got the book of The Empire Strikes Back. I did well at school and I could choose a book and I chose The Empire Strikes Back.
Or was it Splinters of the Mind's Eye?
Oh, very good taste.
It might have been Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which was the follow-on book.
Yeah, it was the first book.
Yeah, it was the first one.
The first book I ever read as a kid.
Alan Dean Foster wrote it.
It was definitely the first one, other than a comic book or a novelization. But Splinter of the Mind's Eye was the first original.
Always remember the cover, the painting of Princess Leia. It was like the back of her, wasn't it? And then Darth Vader was in the middle, and it was really good painting. Yeah.
What about you, Ian?
I thought it was Empire Strikes Back.
It could have been Empire. I remember Splinters of the Mind's Eye sticks in my head, but it might be because I saw it and thought, "Hello, what's this?" Because I wasn't. Because we saw the films. I'm trying to think how we saw them.
I don't know.
On VHS.
Yeah, it would have been VHS.
Yeah.
Jedi I saw in the cinema, but I didn't see. It was Star Wars, Jedi, and Empire was the order I saw them.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I remember seeing the posters for Empire Strikes Back.
So I'm guessing I'm the only one that actually saw Star Wars when it was originally released in the cinema then.
Yeah.
And you guys caught it on VHS.
No, I did. I saw it. I saw it when it got re-released.
But that's not. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when it was originally released. I was the only one out of us that actually saw it.
1977. Yeah, it must have been.
1977. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, no, I think mine was maybe a year or two later, but my mum took me for sure.
All right, okay.
It was the first film I ever saw on the big screen.
Oh, okay.
I'd seen things on telly, as we used to say, and all of this, but
the square.
I'd never seen anything wide and immersive and in Dolby stereo and you know, all of that. And but I think it was the re-release, because when I saw it, it was called Episode 4. A New Hope.
No.
Obviously, originally it was just Star Wars.
Just Star Wars, yeah. That's when I saw it. It was just called Star Wars. I never forget it, though. I remember my brother said to me, "Do you want to go and see Star Wars?" And he showed me the poster, and it was the original poster where Luke was holding the thing, and you had Princess Leia, and she was showing a bit of leg and stuff. And I thought it was a musical. I thought it was a musical. And so my brother was like, "Come see this." I said, I hate musicals. I don't want to see it. He goes, "It's not a musical." And I swear, when we got there, it was shown that the wasn't the Empire, it was the Dominion. When we got there, the queue was round the block twice.
Oh my God.
And there were police on horseback pushing the crowd back. So that's how I remember Star Wars. And we wait for 2 hours just to get in. So there you go. That's how I remember
days, you know, I mean, as much as queuing now just drives me mad, but the memories of stood outside the cinema for like in there like 2 hours early and just standing there, no matter where you were in the queue. I remember Batman we was right around the other side, and I'd got quite pally with one of the fellas that worked in the cinema by that point, which was Dave. And no, you can come in. So we got in, but it was that was the year when I realised you could book tickets in advance. That was it. Our cinema, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was the first one. That was like I printed out tickets which had the name, and you could say it's like, oh, what genius idea is this? We were stood there like 2 or 3 from the front of the queue, and there's people just walking in. It's like, what the what's going on, mate? And we just got in, but we had to sit different like rows apart. But it was just like, oh my God, these are great. So I've still got them all. I organised them all just recently, all in date order, which was great.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you, before we start, I'll tell you this story. I went, I queued up, me, my dad, my brother, and my sister queued up for 4 hours in the rain to see Escape to Witch Mountain. Now, I don't know if you remember, there was a film called Escape to Witch Mountain, which was a Disney film, the original one, not the stupid remake with The Rock. We queued up for 4 hours, and it was raining constantly. We were out in the rain queuing up. That for me, that's cinema. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, that is how I remember cinema.
The good old days.
Wow. The old days. I don't know if it was good, but it was old.
Well, it was dedication. You know, you wouldn't get anyone doing that now. It's like no, we can just get it home now. We'll just download it.
Yeah, instant gratification. Yeah. To me, the cinema going experience is still sacred.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Even though we're obviously talking about a show here that's on streaming.
Yeah, most kids would watch their film like this now, wouldn't they? They watch their film like that. So you know,
God, we're all
they talk about queuing. They just think it's buffering. It's like no.
Yeah.
Queuing had a different meaning.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we've already warned our audience out there, we are going to obviously spoil the first 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett, and by design, we will no doubt spoil other areas of the Star Wars universe talking about this. But you know, I always want to put those warnings out there. I'm sure nobody's watching this unless they're already a fan of this stuff. So we like to start with just a brief synopsis of what's happened in those episodes, which we call "You May Fire When Ready." So Claire, I believe you're going to take it away, right?
I am. And when you said spoil, I don't mean it might be full of spoilers. I don't particularly want to spoil it by my kind of terrible
iteration
of what happened in. So do you want both episodes 1 and 2?
We may as well, yeah, because we're obviously a bit late to the party here in the fact that 2 episodes have gone out already, and this is the first chance we've had to do a live stream. So yeah,
well, that's all right, because all good things are worth waiting for.
New episode drops tomorrow, obviously. Episode 3 is tomorrow. So.
Cool. All right, okay then. So the Book of Boba Fett. Did you call him Boba Fett or Boba Fett? I suppose.
I think some say
Boba.
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 I've always called him Boba.
Boba Fett.
Doesn't
Just
matter.
the accent, Claire.
Brummyism.
It's fine.
So I forgive my Brummyisms as well, but
Harm or harm.
I'll try to pronounce everybody properly. Anyway, okay. So the much anticipated story of what happened to Boba Fett after Return of the Jedi. Ooh. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so from his escape from the Sarlacc pit to his imprisonment by the Tusken Raiders, to where we're picking up from where the Mandalorian left off, where he's sitting on the throne of Jabba the Hutt. Okay, so what else happened? So
We were introduced into the political landscape and underworld of Tatooine. Whilst out and about, out in a boot, as I say in Canada, whilst out and about for the international audiences. We'll get there in the end. Anyway, so whilst out and about surveying his territory and go to the bar to collect money, they leave, get attacked by what they called again?
We don't know who they get attacked by yet, but Fennec Shand.
The Fennec Shand.
Makes chase, and she kicks a lot of ass.
Fennec. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Right.
And
so
Boba Fett heads to the
healing chamber.
Is it a healing chamber?
The back to tank, is a healing chamber.
Thank you. Back to tank. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where he goes back and he kind of retraces his life with the Tusken Raiders.
So at the beginning of the episode, it does exactly what you need to do, because we've been itching since the Mandalorian to find out what was happening, what happened to him, how did he get out of the Sarlacc pit, and at least that gets answered right at the beginning. They don't drag it out for 3 episodes. We find out, and then we go to find out what happened at the end of the Mandalorian, where he's in Jabba's palace, and that kind of pretty much sums up episode 1. And then episode 2, you wrote this one.
Yeah. So Fennec Shand brings back the assassin to Jabba's palace, and he turns out to be the Order of the Night Wind, threatened by sending him to the Rancor monster. He basically spills the beans and says that the mayor sent him. Oh, I forgot to say that episode people came and gave gifts.
That's right, they did.
Sorry, that was an important.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Anyway, so they go and see the mayor.
Who's a right mayor?
Who's a right mayor, Fennec Shand and Boba Fett, and he basically kills the assassin because he doesn't really care about him. And basically Boba Fett wants to collect his tribute, which he does. He then goes back to the bar where the old underworld are going on, where he basically gets told that Jabba's cousins, the twins as they're called, are now laying claim to the throne. And then a scary Chewbacca type gladiator turns up looking pretty menacing. Wookiee Chewbacca. He could be his uncle. We don't know yet.
Chewie's the name. Wookiee is the species.
Oh, well, okay. Anyway, so back in the sleep tank, where, Boba Fett's getting a little power nap. Sorry. We start to see how his relationship unfolds with the Tusken Raiders, and where he was kind of taken imprisonment in the first episode. There's a relationship building and the trust between the two of them. And then, so basically, they're having a spot of bother with this hover train, the old Tusken Raiders, and they're killing a few people in the village.
Yeah.
So Boba Fett, being the hero that he looks like he's turning out to be, goes on a little adventure to this other village, gets a bit of kicking ass going on, nicks some speed bikes, and then goes back to the Tusken Raiders. So he teaches the Tusken Raiders how to use these bikes. They go kick some more ass on this train, and basically The Tusken Raiders give Boba Fett a bit of a gift of a lizard that goes up his nose, sends him on a little
Trippy
little trip
adventure.
thing, comes back, gets a branch. They carve a nice new toy for him that he uses as a weapon.
I mean, when you think about it, it's very Inception. It's a dream within a dream within a dream.
Into the sunset.
Wow. There we go. That was good. That was probably
I know
even
it wasn't
more
terrible.
It's fun. Step
I'm
aside,
so
John
sorry.
Favreau. Leave the rest of it
I'm
to
so
us.
sorry,
Thank you very much.
but I know I've oversimplified it. Anyway.
No, I would say actually you went into plenty of detail there, Claire.
Yeah.
So
Did I?
thank you for doing that. No worries. Appreciate it. That's just to give everyone a quick recap of what actually happened. The next point is obviously to thank the maker, as C3PO says. So obviously this show itself has been created, executive produced and written, these first 2 episodes, by Jon Favreau. Obviously, Jon Favreau, no stranger to the Star Wars universe, having also been executive producer and director of some of the Mandalorian episodes. Of course, he's been in the business years, starting off as an actor in films like Swingers. He's gone on to direct everything from big budget projects like the Iron Man films for the Marvel Cinematic Universe to independent films like Chef, by way of films like Elf in between. So very well known in the industry. Obviously works well as an actor as well as a writer and director. So he's, in my opinion, quite literally living the dream. But so he's running this show. And then for these 2 episodes, for the first episode, it was directed by Robert Rodriguez, who was returning. He obviously directed the episode that introduced Boba Fett into the Mandalorian. So he's come back to direct the pilot of this and obviously be an executive producer by design. Obviously, Robert Rodriguez has a long-spanning career as well, starting with films like El Mariachi and Desperado, and moving through doing his Spy Kids movies, working with Quentin Tarantino on things such as 4 Rooms, and more recently working on
Dusk Till Dawn.
Battle Alita, Dusk Till Dawn, exactly. All of those sort of things. So again, no stranger to directing and no stranger to the Star Wars universe. And then episode 2 was directed by Steph Green. Now, Steph's background is she had an Academy Award-winning short film called New Boy, which came out in 2007. And since then, she's done a lot of work in the episodic television landscape, working on things like the Scandal, The Americans, American Gothic, Billions, Preacher, Bates Motel, Luke Cage, Strange Angel, Man in the High Castle, and she won an award for an episode of Watchmen that she directed. So, some really good talent brought in to bring these to life. So, yeah. There you go.
Nice one, Keith.
So, obviously, the next thing we always like to look at then, before we get into sort of our opinions, etc., on how we enjoyed this episode, we like to talk a little bit about Easter eggs with Bantha Milk Blue. So, a lot of Easter eggs in this show. Obviously, some call it fan service. There's lots to go through. I mean, were there any sort of particular ones in either of these episodes that really stood out to you guys? Ian, what about you? What was your favorite?
Easter eggs? I don't know. I mean, I obviously recognized Black Wookie from the comics because he's in the comics. When I was reading the comics, that is, I haven't read one in ages. And I obviously recognized the tank that he was trying to get himself better in. Kind of reminds me of Michael Jackson's tank. Do you remember when Michael Jackson used to sleep in a tank? Kind of reminded me of that. It wasn't Michael Jackson though. But yeah, and also everything that's on there. Obviously, you can't. If you're a Star Wars fan, you would not miss any of this. It was so blatant that they were obviously, showing you Easter eggs. Also, a woman that I've fancied since I don't know how old I was when I saw Flashdance. She was in two 2 episodes as well. Jennifer Beals.
Yeah.
And she still looked gorgeous, even though she was wearing the makeup and stuff. She still looks gorgeous. So but that's not an Easter egg, is it? Basically,
No,
but,
no. Well,
she looks amazing.
She did look amazing. I mean, she's playing a character called Garza Fwip, which is a Twi'lek girl with the head tentacles, and I mean, Jennifer Beal, very nice. Yeah. We'll move on. But you're absolutely right. You identified the fact that they bought this character called Black Cassanta, which is a Wookiee character, which was first introduced in the comics, and obviously they've now brought him into live action, much in the same way as Timothy Oliphant's character from The Mandalorian last season. That character actually started in some of the novels, and they brought him into live action. So it's good that they're doing that. Claire, Anthony, any particular ones for you that stood out?
Ooh, it's hard to say because there's so much of it that is there from seeing Jabba's palace again. See, like I do like, and you get it sometimes in films and stuff where you've gone back to a scene that you know really, really well. So the bit where he's climbing out the Sarlacc pit, and you see it, you just either see that scene from a different angle, or you're seeing what happens immediately after that scene. So him coming out, seeing Jabba's barge sort of like just decimated on top of the dune thing. There's, the tentacle coming out of the sand, which was probably wrapped around the end of Lando's leg. So all little things like that, attention to details that aren't deliberately but they're there, which as they should be. And that's what I quite like about it. It's, when you do fan service right, it's a great thing. When it's blatant and in your face, it really just winds me up. And I just think that they've done, they've integrated. It feels more like integration of the rest of the stuff that we know about Star Wars, and put these things in because it would exist in that way naturally. Whether it's the old blue fella on the old keyboards and stuff like that. I think it's the things you find out when you hear something like a voice. When I can't remember the name of the droid, but his little droid helper in Jabba's palace. It's like that voice sounds very familiar. Yeah, and then it's like, oh, it's Matt Berry. It's like, my good lady wife.
That's right. Yeah. Matt Berry was playing 8D8, which was a droid that we saw in Return of the Jedi as a torture droid, and he was kind of he was torturing the Gonk droid with those hot plates in the in that, and it's great that they kind of brought that character back, and and obviously the Bacta tank, which we'd seen in Empire Strikes Back after Luke gets attacked by the Wampa. Obviously we've got we've got Boba Fett regenerating in that tank, which is also used as kind of a bridging device for this, split narrative that they're doing. So he's dreaming, and we kind of have this sort of very much Lost or Arrow inspired, split narrative where you've got what happened 5 years ago or 3 years ago or however long it's supposed to be after the Sarlacc pit up to where we've got to in sort of present time in the Mandalorian timeline. So it's good they've used the Bacta tank for that. Also, that kind of helps us explain why a 60-year-old guy is playing a 40-year-old guy, because we've got some Sarlacc scarring there to deal with. Like you said, we saw Max Rebo, who's kind of the blue elephant-looking creature from from Jabba's Palace band. We obviously we have flashbacks to Attack of the Clones, where you see a young Boba Fett pick up Jango Fett's helmet after Mace Windu decapitates his dad, basically, in a duel.
That's not the same shot, though, is it, Keith?
No, apparently they used another take, which was a crane shot, which is a different shot to what they used in Attack of the Clones, which I think is pretty cool. So they're showing us the same thing, but with something different. I kind of like that. Yeah. And then, of course, Boba Fett escaping from the the Sarlacc pit. That's been done, I think, 7 times in sort of Legends material. So it's now official canon, and they kind of they seem to sort of cherry pick what they want from the extended universe and what they now, since Disney took over, called Legends. They're taking bits and pieces. My favorite and again, I think this is the way you quoted Anthony saying fan service done right. Right. My favorite Easter egg, though, was actually when
two.
in episode 2, where Boba Fett goes to Toshi's station, which of course is the station that Luke mentions to his Uncle Owen, where he was going to pick up some power converters. And in the deleted material from Star Wars: A New Hope, or Star Wars, where you know, Luke was hanging out with at Toshi's station, there were 2 characters called Cammy and Fixer, which were this guy and this woman that kind of picked on Luke. Cammy gave him the name Wormy. Fixer kind of, you know, always put him down and whatever. And Biggs kind of got in between them. And in this, you actually see Toshi Station. You see them playing the game that you know, Biggs was playing in that deleted scene. And they got 2 actors that look quite similar. To reprise those roles, but without it being in your face. And the only reason I really know this is my love of the Star Wars radio dramas, because those scenes were actual scenes within that radio drama. So I got quite excited with that one as an Easter egg. But like you said, I think it's done right, because it's not sort of a fan service in your face, wink, wink at the camera. It's one of those Easter eggs that works really well if you don't even know that, and you're just, you know, watching this story, and it works really good that way. So yeah, fun stuff.
I love that. This is it. When it's done right, you know, you get that satisfaction. One, that you found it and spotted it, you know, but rather than it just being a blatant look, and then it just kind of like, well, yeah, we can see that because you've just pointed it out. And when it's just, you know, and it shows the level of detail that the filmmakers are going into to make sure that they get this stuff right. And that's what's really important. There's one bit that I noticed, and it's when they're walking through Mos Espa, and there's a woman, and she's got like these droids walking on. They're like 4-legged droids. And I wonder whether they are actual, because I know those kind of robots do exist. And I was like, were they actual ones that they've got on set that they've used from whatever? So, 'cause I've seen them in use, and they are very impressive to see.
Yeah,
so that would be quite cool.
The answer to that is they actually are. Yeah, they're from Boston Dynamics Robots. Which is actually a company that essentially loaned these out to Lucasfilm and Disney, you know, just to get some publicity. And you're right, they do stand out, don't they, in that scene.
But also, I get the feeling they did a tribute to Ray Harryhausen with the monster in the second episode.
That monster was very much like a, you know,
the Kraken
Harryhausen movie. And I think actually it's Robert Rodriguez is quite a big fan of those films, so it might have been because that was in the episode he directed, wasn't it? The first
the end of the first episode.
Yeah. So
was it? No, was it? No, it was the first episode. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It was the first episode. Yeah.
So no, that was pretty cool. I like the fact that they put that in there. But what are so you know let's. I've got another section that I usually do, but I'm going to put that till later because I think it would work better for us in this live stream environment to talk about, you know, actually talk about the episode from a certain point of view, as Obi-Wan Kenobi says. Yeah, I mean, you know, what were your overall sort of thoughts on this? What are your feelings? I mean, I know it's been a bit divisive out there in communities. I just wondered how you, as fans and filmmakers, feel about it. Ian, start with you. What were your? Are you happy with this show so far, or have you got problems with it? I'm sure you've got
I just thought it was meh, personally, the first episode. And we're talking about the first episode, aren't we?
Sure. Well, we can talk about both.
Well, both of them were really... The thing I didn't like about it was that just that it's not really... To me, it's not really Boba Fett. It's Disney's version of Boba Fett. And again, they watered down the character. The thing that made me laugh, right, guys, just going off the side of it, is in Return of the Jedi, he falls in, right? And he's like, 5 pounds lighter, and then when he comes out, it's got this weight on him. I'm like, what the hell happened? Did he eat something in there or what? I just thought to myself, this doesn't work. But it begs the question really why they cast the guy who played Jango Fett in the first place to play this character. Why couldn't they have cast someone, that was slimmer and better looking, I guess? But I know a lot of people say it's because he's a clone and he has to look like so and so, but we don't, they could have got someone similar but a lot younger, if you know what I mean, that kind of thing. But going back to the episode, to me it was just okay. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed both episodes, but personally I thought, again, they've kind of watered down the character, and there's little things that really bother me, like when he rescues the little kid from the Ray Harryhausen monster, why didn't he run? Because he tried to run before, didn't he? And he wasn't concerned about, dying in the desert. He just wanted to get. Why would he go back to the people that were torturing him in the first place? Another thing that bothered me as well is he was trapped on all sides by those people with the shields. Why didn't he use his rocket thing to kind of fly off? And because he's got a rocket thing, and he didn't use it, that kind of thing. And that bothered me as well. It's just, I think the writing's substandard again with this stuff. And there are logical things that don't make sense. Like, for instance, right, when they're getting attacked by the train thing and Boba Fett goes up to the Tusken Raider and says, I've got an idea. And then suddenly he's at Torchy Station. I mean, how far is that away from where they are? And do you know what I mean? He could have easily ran away from that little sand thing kid and go there, couldn't he? And escaped. But he didn't. He went back with them, back to the people that tortured him in the first place. How did he know that they weren't going to continue to torture him? Do you know what I mean? There's little things in there that didn't make any sense to me, which bothered me as a screenwriter. But apart from those few things, I just wish that they had Boba Fett as Boba Fett. He kept taking his mask off as well. It's like, why you keep taking your mask off? Please keep it on. Do you know what I mean? Just keep it on, because that's Boba Fett, right? And I just wanted Boba Fett. I wanted Boba Fett on every episode to be on a mission to bring somebody back as a bounty and be Boba Fett. But they've given us something else, which it's okay, I guess.
No, you're right. I mean, they have. I've got a bit of a theory on that, but before that, Claire, Anthony, have you got any specific reactions to that, or just in general?
Yeah,
isn't it?
I mean, I'm liking it purely because, I love what they're doing with the world building with all of this. Especially what they've set up with the Mandalorian, and it's more about. Because I'm always thinking about what's the end game. When we get to the end of the series and we look back, is all of this going to make, all of it kind of plays a part and comes into place in the end, which I think it probably will do. It feels like that's the kind of way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, it could be wrong, but I'm sorry, I've certainly been wrong before about these things. But it feels like it's going towards a destination, and I sometimes I do like slow burners. I like it when you can just kind of sit and watch stuff and the interactions and what's kind of going on between them, and you're finding more out about the Tuskens and Sand People or whatever. And then, so there's, I quite like this kind of, this world building that we're getting a chance to sort of like see, and like all jabbers and all that kind of like
the jabbers
things.
The huts.
Jabber walking. I've just been enjoying it. I just, it's good. There's certainly some things of late that I have not enjoyed when it's comes to kind of these kind of like random things. This is something that I'm just accepting it for what it is and trying not to kind of read into things too much until I get to the end of the series. And but by the end, it's just like, what a waste. Because there are some things.
I hope not.
That's what I don't know. I mean, there's some that I think some things are being done right, like Cobra Kai. I really love what they're doing.
Oh, I love Cobra Kai.
So it's really kind of building as well. And that's what I want to see. And I'm hoping it's happening with Boba Fett, that although it's quite slow in setting things up, and there's obviously something going on because he's always being put inside the healing chamber. So that's, a reason why you've got what's her face, Fennec.
Fennec Shand, I think it is.
Shand doing the where you really kind of want to be seeing him do all that kind of stuff. But You know,
she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not going to play.
But there is that boxing going on. You know, the strong female. You know, I'm as strong as any man going on there a bit, which is, you know, I'm not sure I'm bothered about that really. I quite like the slow pace.
Really, Claire, really?
Yeah,
I'm curious. As a woman yourself, what are your thoughts on that sort of thing? Then
I'm not really a sort of action person, if you know what I mean, in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily have to see women competing to do the same job as what men do. I mean, you know, it's great. She's got the physical agility to do it, and but it's not offering anything different. We've seen that. We saw that in The Mandalorian, didn't we, with the wrestler woman? Yeah. And so, you know, you know, there's that kind of pattern again, isn't there, of you know, everything that we're seeing that's coming out of Disney. You know, these women that, you know, this all, you know, aren't I strong and I'm tough, and, you know, all right. We've got that. Let's just move on and do something different. Let's see what's going on.
She's over 50.
She's yeah. She looks great.
Yeah, she's incredible.
She's
nearly 60.
Yeah.
I think she's nearly 60, or she's 58
she's
or something.
Not.
Yeah. Seriously,
she got married to her driver, the person that was driving around in I think it was in Shields, was it? Agent of Shields. Yeah, she got married to a driver.
Oh, I thought you meant South Shields. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, and any Americans that are listening probably won't understand that at all, will they? But
sorry, it's a region in the UK.
Indeed. I think you all raised some good points there. I mean, I've probably thought way too much, more than I should, when I'm supposed to be focusing on work and stuff. But about this, I was thinking about the
don't focus on work.
The question about or the comment about a different character. And I agree. This is not the Boba Fett that we were expecting to see at all. And I think the reason for that is, if you like, the Mandalorian kind of gave us what most people were expecting from a Boba Fett show. I think, because obviously he was a bounty hunter, you know, and obviously wore the armor all the time, rarely took the helmet off. You know, and all of that sort of thing. So, you know, we've got something different here, and we're going on another story with a character that I
know that rumor, Keith, about it. Do you know that rumor about it? There's a rumor that basically Boba Fett was never meant to have a series, and the guy that plays the Mandalorian's given them a hard time, because obviously he demanded that he takes the mask off, and obviously originally he wasn't meant to take the mask off, so they kind of bow to pressure. And then and now what they've done is they put Mandalorian, and they've actually stopped it for a year and a bit, or 2 years, and I think it's coming back at the end of this year. And the rumor is that it's because of Pedro that they stopped it, because he was giving them trouble, and so they were saying, what can we do in this space? So that's why they've created Boba Fett. Now, I didn't believe that until at the ending of one of these episodes, they had a picture. You know, they always have pictures.
Yes,
of concept art, and one of them was when Boba Fett met the mayor. And if you look at that picture closely, it looks like the Mandalorian. So the question is, was this whole series meant to be for Mandalorian? Then that trouble happened with Pedro, and they decided to replace the Mandalorian with Boba Fett and kind of rewrite it a bit so it suit, because everything was lined up for another series of Mandalorian. That's the rumor. I don't know if it's true or not.
I mean, I know there's obviously a lot of politics around these shows, and of course around Disney and Lucasfilm in particular, and the way it's managed, etc. I mean, we had the whole sort of Gina Carraro, Cara Dune thing going on last season and whatever. So I think you make a good point. Maybe this was, but I think, I mean, I think what's happened is the fandom itself over the years has made so much speculation about this character Boba Fett, who essentially was about 2.5 minutes on screen, I think, was the actual screen time in Empire Strikes Back, or maybe that and Jedi combined. I don't know, but you know, there's obviously been, there was all the Legends stories, there were the comics, and people have had all these sort of preconceived ideas about who this character is, and I just, you know, we are getting something very different to what we were expecting, certainly different to what I was expecting. And I think using this, using the Bacta tank as the sort of place for him to heal and dream and give us this split narrative with the timeline, kind of, you know, kind of offers us something quite interesting. As you, I mean, Ian will laugh because he knows this, but I obviously talk a lot about, you know, films that inspired me as a kid and why I wanted to be a filmmaker and an actor and all these different things. And a lot of them are, you know, big franchise movies and whatever, like Star Wars, etc. Right? But one film that really captured me when I was young and that I'm a huge fan of, which is a standalone film, was actually Dances with Wolves with Kevin Costner, which he obviously directed as well. And you know, I'm seeing in this, obviously, we've got a lot of classic Western, spaghetti Western traits, samurai film traits, Lawrence of Arabia, biblical epics, even things like The Godfather 2 and Dune, you know, all sort of feed into this material and fed into the source material as well. And I think it's the journey they're taking us on, you know, the Sand People or Tusken Raiders in this, you know, they've always been these sort of faceless savages in the Star Wars films and the saga that we've had so far. And obviously we had a couple of episodes in The Mandalorian that sort of humanized them slightly. And you know, this, I think exploring that in this series is quite interesting as well, because it makes, when you think about it, it retroactively makes what Anakin does in episode 2 of you know, the Attack of the Clones of the saga, it makes that even worse in some respects. Do you know what I mean? It's because we're now learning about this culture and this society and the fact that you know, they are the original dwellers of Tatooine and aren't familiar with technology and haven't had the ability to leave the planet and all of this sort of thing. And I don't know, you know, it's pulling from a lot of different sources here, but it isn't.
I didn't mind it,
but I kind of like it.
I didn't mind it. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Funnily enough, did I not reference Dances with Wolves to you?
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah,
Steve references. She goes, I haven't even seen it, but it's like Dances was like, Dances with Wolves.
The thing is, though, it's credible that there are different tribes. Like in Dances with Wolves, you have the Indians that would kill cowboys when they see them, and then you'd have a different tribe which was all about peace and, you know, whatever. So it's credible. I didn't mind the Tusken Raiders in this at all, not at all. It's just the main character I have a problem with. That's all, because he's completely different to what we know.
For somebody like me who struggles to remember, you know, once I've watched something, you guys will all remember. It is. It's gone. I literally am like a fish. So
keep swimming, keep swimming.
Yeah. So Keith says to me, what was that? When Keith says, "Can you do a synopsis?" I was like, "Shit yourself."
Sorry.
And then called on Anthony's to help me, and then skipped through. But the point is that what I struggled with is the first episode. As much as I quite liked it, was a slow burner. It was quite discombobulating because and I've seen all of this stuff hundreds of times. Don't get me wrong. You know, I've watched Mandalorian and God knows what, and Star Wars and all that loads of times. But I just don't. It doesn't register. Once I've seen it, it's gone. So to kind of come back to this story, you can pick up and go, oh yeah, that's from that, and that's from that, like you guys are. But for me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, it is is like, oh, it's quite difficult to get into. Whereas actually the Mandalorian, I didn't have that problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's interesting because it does. The Mandalorian is fresh, apart from it being set within a universe.
I suppose so. Yeah.
I mean, you can know a lot about it if you watch the animated series and all that and things. But if you don't watch anything like the Clone Wars and stuff, you still get on with the Mandalorian because he's got his own. It's completely own story.
Yeah. So maybe really that's where I'm struggling.
Because that's the thing. If you haven't seen Return of the Jedi, then you won't know that. I mean, no, it's not.
Well, I have, by the way, just in case anybody thinks I'm.
No, that's cool. Would you say then?
I mean, I remember because everyone remember what happened to Boba Fett. It was always a big deal, and everyone always wanted. And it's right what you say, Keith. And it's like with any franchise. And I always remember specifically stuck out with me with Alien that when you got something like Prometheus, it's very difficult to sometimes to step away and think, was Prometheus a good film or wasn't it? I still don't think it's a good film.
Rubbish.
Exactly, it was. But it's like you're there and you've just got 30, whatever it was at that point, 30 odd years of anticipation of what the next film by Ridley Scott returning to a franchise is going to give you. And then we got Prometheus, and then you're walking away. It's like, I don't think I liked it. I need to really, and that's happened. And, there's times when that's happened a lot. And there's times when, like Cobra Kai, where I actually enjoyed this series more than what I think I did the original.
That's because they actually respected what happened in the past, and I've seen all of them now. I've even seen the last season, and I binged the last season, and it's basically saluting those films, even the third one, which I really hated, but it's saluting it because it really is doing that. But the thing with the Mandalorian is its own thing. I can understand why Claire was saying that. It's its own thing. But also, a lot of people say that the Mandalorian is badly written. I don't think so. If you look carefully, it's very simple. The actual story, the structure of the story is very simple, so you don't have to think about it too much. Plus, it has these wonderful moments in there. Like, for instance, I'll give you one example. The bit where Baby Yoda's missing or got kidnapped, I remember, and he's in his ship and he sees the little ball that he used to play with, and he looks at the ball. And with the mask on, even with the mask on, you can tell he's sad because he's looking at the ball. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, you don't even hear him sigh or anything. You can tell that he's missing Baby Yoda. And I think a lot of people miss that in that series. How the writing was simple, but it was also very good as well. So
I think there's an epicness about Boba Fett, though, isn't it? It feels like it does. I think it feels epic,
because he's dealing with the complexities of now he's sitting on this throne, and you've got all this other stuff that's going to kick in. Very, in some respects, you think of like the sequel, what it was called, I can't remember now, the prequel trilogy, which was very politically complicated, like trade, tax routes, and it's like, even now I don't really understand what was going on there. Same way as Roger Rabbit. Actually, I struggled to understand it a bit too much, but I still really like Roger Rabbit. But it was like, so they're buying, but it was all based on. Anyway, I digress. So it certainly's got that potential. But you've got the stuff that's going on with him and the Tuscans, which is a simpler kind of story.
And I did like that.
So Claire, because I'm interested in this. So, do you think then? Because obviously Disney, of course, they want as many subscribers as possible and as many people to see this. I mean, there's no two ways about it. That's the sort of corporation they are, of course, right? Makes sense. So, but would you say, of course, they want these things to be accessible. So would you say that this show, for someone who isn't, versed in the lore of Star Wars, is a little bit inaccessible then?
Do you know what? I think I would say yes.
Okay.
And but is that because is that me trying to backtrack and think, should I know that from that, and should I know that from that, rather than me just thinking of it as a blank canvas?
Mm-hmm.
It could be a bit of me as well. The second episode was easier to watch in the respect, I suppose there was more going on. It was also longer, wasn't it? So we obviously have had, like twice the amount of time with the character at this point than we did in the first episode. So You know what? I don't think you could go and not know the Star Wars, whole kind of whatever you want to call it,
universe.
Well, I don't know.
Universe.
Well,
I don't know. Could you really go to watch Boba Fett and
you would think so.
Yeah,
I
because
do remember.
the thing is, yeah, you do, because even when he goes the twins, the twins are claiming the throne. The impact of seeing two fat things and not, as soon as you saw him, you're like, bloody hell, two Jabba the Hutt. Oh my God. You need to know that for
you do.
characters to have had any kind of impact.
I mean, because the thing, this is like, without
Sorry,
like naming names and all that kind of stuff. Like this is a good few years ago now, before the new films came along. And I had a friend who got a job at Disney, and she came and said, and she was like, "Oh, I could do with some help because I've got to pitch an idea about Star Wars to Disney, because they've just bought the Star Wars stuff." So she goes, "I've got to pitch an idea, and they, the bottom line is they want to make it much more female focused, and that's going to be their kind of like drive and stuff." She goes, "But I don't know a lot about Star Wars. So do you know much about it?" It's like, you've come to the right person. So. Okay, so what do you want to know? She goes, "What do you know about?" Okay, well, obviously, first film, you got R2 and 3PO, and she's like, "Okay, so who are they?" It's like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Who are R2, 3PO?" She's like, "Well, R2, C3PO, don't you know?" She goes, "No, golden, tall, and she goes, "No, I don't know." And it's like, right, okay, I don't know where to go. It's like, if you don't know two characters that, even if you don't know anything about Star Wars, they're two characters that are hugely ingrained in pop culture.
Yeah,
it's like, you can't. I mean, I've got, like, a mate bought me a wallet that's R2D. My mug is R2D2. It's great.
I bought you that.
Yeah, it's quality.
Yeah.
I've got R2D2 over there.
Yeah, brilliant. There's I've got one on the wall here and stuff. So, but then when somebody's like, they're supposed to be pitching a Star Wars idea, which kind of shows you, really.
It shows you the problems of what they're suffering from. They're basically hiring people that don't know anything about Star Wars. I'm not saying. I mean,
frustrating for people like us, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, but it's all about, as Claire pointed out, it's all about ticking the box. It's all about more women directors. It's all about people with different color skin being in the show and stuff like that. And it's kind of taken over what the show should be like and the story and stuff, like the most important things. But it's the way it's going. Nothing we can do about it.
I mean,
so there you go.
There would be a course correction, with the force things on us the way they are to that degree, but hopefully there will be a balance. A balance will be brought.
That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I mean, it'll be just become normal. People will adjust, but
with me trying to bring some balance to this. I mean, I have to say, one of the things I like is everything we've seen of Star Wars so far mainly has been either about the Jedi and the Sith, or the rebellion and the Empire, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's quite nice that we're seeing something a bit different here.
Yeah.
We're seeing like we're seeing the criminal underworld, if you like, of and I know they played a part in the other films and everything as well, but we're drilling a lot more into that now. With the Hutts, for example.
I thought they were joined. At one point.
I'll tell you what, that really made me laugh, because you think this just shows how ruthless they are. You had all those poor buggers carrying them in a world where they've got repulsor fields that can take trains and all of this sort of thing, and yet they still had to physically carry the Hutt.
I think it's a mark of respect, I think.
Yes,
over there.
exactly.
I think that's probably what it was. Yeah.
But,
what I think is really lovely about this show is the whole kind of look and feel, and going back to the editing and the wipes and all of those kind of things that just do transport you back to watching the original Star Wars films. It really has all of that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I like all the creatures as well.
Yeah.
They're really I'm really quite impressed by all of that.
But again, it's like there's I mean, it's certainly you would think they need to get everything right, but of course, like when it came to the last lot of films, they really didn't. But that's a debate for another time.
Yeah.
But again, it's been hugely expanded upon.
Yeah.
And you won't know much of, like, there were certain things in the last series of The Mandalorian, but that's all straight from the Clone Wars,
Right.
which it was a really good show, especially in the end. It really sort of like it upped its level. But a lot of characters are coming over from that. So it's the first time seeing him in live action. So a lot of that, you know, you've got to get all the kind of clothes and everything right.
Yeah.
Which is important. It's as long as it's. But essentially, it does come down to the story, because if the story is still no good, then they could be all dressed in, you know, gold for all we care, because it's like, well, it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
I need to ask you all. I mean, obviously, on Let's See What's Out There, we did cover The Mandalorian, and obviously we've covered like Marvel shows and whatever, but didn't actually cover, because I didn't watch The Bad Batch, which was the animated series that Disney put out between Mandalorian and this. And I just wondered, did any of you see that? Obviously you did, Ian, did you? Yeah, because I'm wondering whether there were things, because I know that introduced Fennec Shand as a character, didn't it, in there as well, a younger version, and I just wondered whether it might have anything that would tie into this.
I don't care. That show was terrible. That it was animation. It was awful. I mean, it started off with characters that you didn't care about, and they were all doing stupid things, and I just didn't care about anything that happened in there. I think I saw 2 episodes. That was it for me. I was like, this just doesn't work for me, and just gave up on it. Yeah, and in fact, I'm very selective about what I view now when it comes to Marvel and Star Wars and Disney and stuff like that. You know, I do criticize the first 2 episodes of Boba Fett, but I did enjoy them. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. I did enjoy what I saw, but my heart still sinks, because in my opinion, they're not treating the Star Wars universe properly, or the way it should be treated, in my opinion. As I said, Mandalorian is probably the best that they've kicked out so far. All the 3 films are absolute bollocks. You know, don't even get me started on Marvel. It's just absolute nonsense. But as I said, it's interesting how they don't give us what we want. I mean, this is not Boba Fett for me. I want Boba Fett. I want Boba Fett to not take his mask off, collect a bounty, kill a couple of people. Do you know what I mean? Do what bounty hunters do. And
we
you
might
know,
get there.
I hope so. I hope so. It doesn't look like it, though, does it? It really doesn't look like that's going to happen. But you know, it might be better. Who knows?
I think it's right what Keith sort of like said. I'm sure they're sat there thinking, well, we've delivered that with Mandalorian, because Mandalorian is exactly what we wanted from Boba Fett and what you wanted to see. That's the thing, which is kind of it's fine because we've got it in Mandalorian, but it is the problem because you want to see it because it's Boba Fett. That's what we've we've all wanted, and it's a problem with like doing fan service stuff, because you know again, especially lately, there seems to be like quite a collection of like old material or old franchises, say, being kind of like given a modern touch, and some of those things have been great. Cobra Kai, yet again, and some of them, which I won't name, didn't really do those kind of things for me, because it's just like this is blatant fan service, and all it is a shiny gloss of fan service, and you can get very kind of like, oh my god, look at that, and without thinking, okay, well, move all that stuff to one side and look at what's underneath it. Well, there isn't really a lot, and that is a problem. And the problem with Boba Fett now is they're delivering it at a time when it would have been great if they'd have delivered it before The Mandalorian, and then you would have hopefully have got that bounty hunter show of Boba Fett that everyone's wanted, because he was, you know, let's be honest, he was every kid's favorite toy, and which I don't know why, but it always was my favorite, probably because it was just colorful and stuff and could fly. So there's all those aspects, but it's also, I suppose, giving us a chance to see a different angle on things and get, you know, see the character and do all that kind of, you know, essentially kind of like cowboy ninjas, dances with wolves, all that kind of stuff. You know, the train going through, which part of me was like, I don't get the bit with the train. Why don't they just kind of leave it alone? Why don't they just hide? But then Mum loves watching a Western.
It's badly written. It's badly written. I mean, you know, the train's driving through. The Sand people are not bothering them. Why are they killing them? Why are they shooting at them? That was never answered. You know what I mean? It's just look, it's really badly written. The first 2 episodes really bad. There's logic flaws in there everywhere. You go.
Well,
It just doesn't make any. Some of it doesn't make any sense. But you know, it was enjoyable. What can I say?
My mom likes watching westerns a lot. They're on.
Yeah.
They're on like afternoon. That's generally some westerns. Some of them aren't great. Interestingly, and just randomly, one of them was going on about the railroad going through, and now they've got to protect themselves because, and it's just, and then it was like that. Things like. Basically, the Tuscans are there because they feel that's their territory that's being invaded by this, and that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Well,
So
they
it's
didn't
not
attack
like-
them, though. The Tuscans didn't attack them. It was the train that was attacking them for no
Train
reason.
was attacking
They were
But
just
they did-
shooting
that's-
at them, bing, bing, bing,
That's,
and
that's
killing
kind
them.
of what they, but that's what they did way back in West when they was building the trains. They would be shooting at the, the Native Americans and stuff, and it was just
That's because the Native Americans were attacking the trains and they didn't want them going through their land. That's why they were attacking them.
But that's the thing; they're there, so it's, and it was always certainly in the old films.
The Tuscan Raiders wasn't attacking the train. They were just minding their own business. And when they see the train come, obviously they were ducking around and they were deliberately picking them off with the gun on the train. When they were deliberately
They did explain
killing
why they were doing that, though,
Well,
in the episode.
I was going to say it was to do with moisture, wasn't it? That gang was trying to get the they were raiding the moisture farms to and that's what the train was
for their
the
skin.
train had spice on it as well.
Moisturising their skin. They looked like
the-
fishes, didn't they?
No, but the Pike Syndicate had the spice on the train as well, didn't it? It was, it was part of the spice.
Yeah, the spice.
Which
Is
is
that the
what
same
on-
spice in Dune?
Well, exactly. That's totally lifted from Dune. Yeah.
All right, yeah.
It's not scary spice, is it?
No, I wish it was.
Might be,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think, I mean, we've still got. This is less episodic and more serialized, isn't it, than what we had
Yes.
with The Mandalorian, which was still serialized, but you had kind of adventure of the week in there. In fact, we used to joke it was a bit like the A-Team, some of the episodes, but like turn up and solve the problem and then leave. But I think this is a really good point of the show for us to go into what I call, when I'm optimistic, I say never tell me the odds, and when I'm not, I say I've got a bad feeling about this. But it's our speculation as to where we think the show might go, and there's a lot of rumors out there, and I just wondered whether A, you guys knew any of these rumors, or B, whether you have any theories or thoughts yourself on that. Have any of you got any wild ones that are that are coming out?
The rumor is that all three of them are going to be in it, and they've got Carrie Fisher's daughter to do the voiceover for Princess Leia. I mean, just looking at Ghostbusters Afterlife, the way they brought back Harold Ramis was absolutely freaking amazing. Don't know how they did that at all. So if they can do something like that, they can definitely bring back Princess Leia or Carrie Fisher's image, and put her in this show, I guess. But yeah, that's one of the rumors. I that's the only rumor I know. I know they were talking about Mace Windu coming back and stuff like that, and you're like, for why?
Well, put it this way, he'd be exactly the right age.
Yes,
for starters.
he would.
He's obviously got Boba Fett's got beef with Mace Windu because he killed his father. Yeah, he killed Jango Fett. And the other thing is, we never really saw. Okay, the Emperor blasted Mace out of a window.
Through a window.
But when you think they brought Darth Maul back and we actually saw him cut in half.
Exactly.
No, but come on. We should just forget about that film. That film doesn't exist to me. That was absolute trash. It really was complete and utter trash. So anyway, sorry, carry on.
Jedi's fall from very great heights and survive.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure Samuel L. Jackson would be up for it. I mean,
I think he will.
You think Samuel L. Jackson, like obviously he's friends with Rodriguez and Favreau because of the movie, Marvel and Quentin Tarantino connection and all of that sort of stuff. And I mean, he's carved out a great career for himself with his franchises as well, hasn't he? But
that was the well-known thing, wasn't it? That he went to George Lucas and said, "I'll be a stormtrooper. I've got to be in a Star Wars film," and that's when they created that character for him.
Exactly. So. Yeah. exactly.
And really, he's got a very similar end to Boba Fett, that you never actually see. They go off into the distance, basically, or down a pit, but there's always a slight bit where they've gone now. You don't see him.
Nobody dies in sci-fi, do they?
Well, the thing is, with Samuel L. Jackson, it was because of TFI Friday, wasn't it, that he got that part?
That's right. Yes, yeah.
When he was talking to Chris Evans.
He said, "I'd love to do that," or something
Oh,
like
is
that.
is that how that happened?
Yeah,
Wow.
and George Lucas saw it, and then he invited him to the ranch, and then they got talking, and then and that's how he got the part, really. Well, I mean, that's what I think, because I remember actually watching it live when he was saying, because Chris said to him, what part, if there was any part any film that you can be in, what, and he said, I'd Star Wars. He said, I'd play a stormtrooper if they let me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of how we got it.
Let's be honest. We all would, right? If given the chance.
yeah.
But there's also talk about the character of Kira from Solo, a Star Wars.
Why? Why? Why?
Again, that would kind of line up, but I don't know.
Why would you want it to line up? That's the
Mother of Dragons.
Emilia Clarke, that's the name I was trying to think
of.
There's been talk about.
Funny enough, when I saw the train and there was all that lot going on, I thought, well, I wonder if that's I couldn't remember that it's Scarlet. Was it? I don't know. Was it the Scarlet Pimpernel or the Black Fingernail? But it was.
It was the Pike Syndicate, which were in Star Wars, a Solo, a Star Wars story. They were the ones that Kira takes them to on the planet, and has Han and Chewie as gifts, if you like, prisoners. And that was the Pike Syndicate, which were the same, if you like, heavies that were in this episode, transporting the spice. So there is a connection there. So
that's the thing, because it's like, do we get a Darth Maul kind of thing? I would like to see that. There's parts of it. I remember seeing the end of Star. Again, it's like you get swept away with look at that little bit of fans seeing Darth Maul rock up again on screen and on cinema rather than in the Clone Wars and stuff, and you get kind of caught up with the moment of but you got to and then you can take a step back and think, but anyway, I still preferred Star Wars, the solo film over the other trilogy.
Well, I wouldn't take it, the trilogy or that film personally. I'd just dump them all. But I mean,
Rogue One is great.
I liked Rogue One, but I honestly think they shouldn't be doing member berries now. They should not. They should be creating a whole new universe for Star Wars, even though it's Boba Fett. Create new characters around him and stuff. Yeah, if you want to put Han Solo and Luke in it, just let them have a cameo, but don't rely on member berries, because you're meant to be creating something new and move forward. That's what I think.
And it is supposed to be a massive universe as well, isn't it? A massive galaxy far, far away. And, they keep bumping into people as if it's the local corner shop, right?
The universe isn't that big in Star Wars.
I remember saying this to a mate, and it was just like, so much they could do, so much, and they always seem to go around the same old thing.
Yeah, they do.
We still got to bring these people in and bring that, and it doesn't. I'm becoming less enamored with all of that kind of stuff. I want to see decent original ideas. You've got literally carte blanche to do anything you want, but no, you go straight back to sort of no, we've got to get that fellow again, because look, that people really liked him in that cameo he did in that film, so we're getting back. And it's like, Christ's sake, just let it go and try and do something original. But that's obviously
it makes the galaxy seem very small when they keep it to a handful of planets and a 60-year period, and like you said, the Skywalkers or whatever, and it's like, blimey, this is supposed to be a massive galaxy with interplanetary travel all over the place. So why are we always going to the same planet and seeing the same people? So it is a weird one. I mean, they are cherry picking from the expanded canon, or the expanded universe and whatever. And there is talk that because we've had Black Kasatan, the Wookiee appear, that they might bring into live action this character, Dr. Aphra. I don't know whether you know that character. It's the one here who's been portrayed in some of the comics, etc. And she is a kind of Indiana Jones type character in the Star Wars universe, if that makes sense. So I don't know whether you know about that, or obviously they did this, in The Mandalorian. They brought Ahsoka in, didn't they? Who had been in the animated series. So
she's great. The girl who plays
her, Rosario Dawson.
Dawson,
So I
legend.
don't know whether they're going to do anything like that. And of course, the wildest one I've heard is that, and this was in The Sun, so we can certainly take this with
okay.
It's true.
Yeah, exactly. Is that Harrison Ford is going to be de-aged and appear as Han Solo in it?
Yeah, together with Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
apparently.
I really think they should leave them alone.
Yeah.
I don't mean leave them alone in a non-digital way.
In a Michael Jackson kind of way.
Yeah. It's just like they've had their time
but
now.
Then again, but that's the thing, isn't it? It's like we fucked up with the films. What we should have done was get them all together on screen, even if it's just for one scene. We've got to do it, and they didn't. So this is a chance for them to kind of go. But I don't agree with it.
No.
I have got. I do have a lot of issues, especially with people like Carrie Fisher, who's no longer with us, and it's like, now we're going to get a. I mean, it's fair enough if she's done a film and she's passed away within it, and they're using her to kind of complete that as respectfully as they can to do that and pay homage in the best way they can to the completion of that character. But for me, when there are people now we are in an age, as we've seen with Ghostbusters, that it doesn't matter who you are.
Or was it Rogue One? There,
well, Rogue One, and bring Peter Cushing back.
Yeah,
it's like
that looks awful though. Now you can see it
hasn't aged too well, even in the short few years and stuff. So it's fair, but we are there where we can do that. But the question really, for me, things like that, it's like, surely you are crossing an ethical line. This one thing, after signing up to a part and doing it, and thanks very much.
I think it all depends on the family, doesn't it? Because they had to ask permission of Peter Cushing's family, didn't they? So it all depends. If they asked the Carrie Fisher family and they said it's fine, then I guess they'll do it. I mean, there's nothing stopping them from doing it, really. My big beef with all of this is this horrible cancer that's spreading through the Star Wars universe or the shows and the films, and I can't look at it as pure Star Wars anymore. It's been infiltrated by woke this, woke that, box ticking box. Do you know what I mean? So when they said, we're going to do a Boba Fett series, I was like, okay. Instead of being really excited, because I know what was going to be presented, I know it wasn't going to be the Boba Fett that I want. It never is, right? I just go, meh. And then I watch the episode and it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I go, yeah. So there's no excitement for me about Star Wars anymore. And that's the main problem for me with Star Wars. But,
I mean, is it a time to sort of talk about Jeremy Bulloch and what he actually brought to Boba Fett and is, a significant reason why we're all sitting here talking about this, because he obviously had a screen presence with what he did with that part.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, which he always said that he kind of based the swagger off of, Clint Eastwood's The Man with No Name. So again, back to the spaghetti western.
Yeah.
Look, also, he's missing his poncho, isn't he? Boba Fett, he has a poncho in the films and he doesn't have it in this, and it's as I said, the color is black and it's like, no, it doesn't work because it should be lighter. What are they doing? That kind of thing.
This is a bit nitpicky on my part, but obviously the undersuit that he had, which was under the arm,
light.
I always thought it was kind of a bluey color, but it looked almost white in this.
A bit.
Obviously, they had like the sort of modified Chelsea boots and whatever, that was correct. But I guess that maybe the acid drained the color out or something.
The wrong sock in the wash. Like Peter. No, that's it.
I thought it was kind of a powder blue sort of color,
but it does. you do ask the question, why didn't they cast someone younger? Why didn't they, why did they change his costume? Why did they go this route, instead of giving us Boba Fett? Why did they make him take his mask off so many times? That kind of thing. It does make you question all these things as a pure Star Wars fan myself. And as I said, it's made me feel like now when, if they say they're going to do a Han Solo series, I'll be like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Instead of being really excited. And that's what ultimately, that's what they've done to fans, a lot of fans, including me, to Star Wars, and makes us think this way. But if people like it, it's great.
Well, the thing is, there were rumors of a Boba Fett movie for years, as it has been, the rumors of that, and then we sort of finally got it. But I mean, I look at this as this is going to be like a rite of passage story for Boba Fett. I mean, you see him there sort of making a Tusken Raider Garfy stick like he had when we first shows up in The Mandalorian. And that's almost like with a Jedi building a lightsaber, the kind of rite of passage thing. And I'm very intrigued. I think in some respects I understand what you're saying about it's not the Boba Fett show that we are all expecting. But at the same time, I think in some respects that's a good thing, because
I disagree.
It's more intriguing. It's more. I'm sort of very curious now as to where this is going to go over the next 5 years.
I'm not.
Thing, right? No?
I disagree with you totally. I think they've not in any of the episodes, and I'm talking right across the board from Marvel now to Disney. They've not given the fans what they wanted. And I'm not talking about member berries either. I'm talking about respect for the characters in these fantastic franchises that we've got. They have not. They've gone out the way to basically give us something different, what they think is different, coupled with politics, coupled with the box ticking thing and stuff. And this is what's been presented to us. And quite frankly, I don't have to accept it. I mean, I can watch them, I can enjoy them, but I don't have the same excitement or the same drive as I had when real Star Wars, as I say, was out, so that's just me though. If you like it, then God bless you.
With the Disney-fying of stuff, I mean, what one of the obvious things that pulled me out and made me chuckle in the first episode was obviously you've got the Gamorrean guards have got like
I got thinner.
But they've also got like machete type weapons.
Yeah.
There's no blood shed whatsoever. When they attack those guys, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's Disney-fied in so much as we can't show that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm sort of. We live in we're very lucky that we've got so much choice out there. We've got a lot of stuff to watch, and we don't, we can sort of pick and choose what we watch nowadays. But I'm intrigued enough by this to want to go the journey, and hence why we're putting a live stream out about, or a podcast out about it, is the fact that it's got us talking, which is a good thing. But I do agree though that it does feel like a different character at the moment, but again I'm thinking that's kind of our own perceptions that our head canon, if you like, that we've brought to the character, because we didn't really know. I mean, the intriguing thing about Boba Fett was he was a man of mystery. We didn't know much.
But once you take that away from him, it becomes something else, and he doesn't become Boba Fett, right? What is wrong with actually keep sticking to the character and developing stuff around him, or stretching him within that character? Why do you have to deconstruct that character, making something completely different? In other words, he's not Boba Fett. It's something else, and that's what they've done. They haven't given us Boba Fett. They've given us a different version of Boba Fett.
That's the thing, though.
I mean, we don't know where this is going, do we? To be
fair, no, I don't.
And also, this is beyond what we've already seen of Boba Fett, right? So. I mean, let's be honest. When he turns up in The Mandalorian, which is obviously, takes place after the quote unquote flashback events that we're getting on this. I mean, he kicked some serious ass, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did, but then he took his mask off, and you're like, "Who's that fella?" You know, you're like, and then you go, "Right, oh, has he put on weight? Yes, he has put on weight." Even when I was watching The Mandalorian, I was like, "This guy's put on weight."
Cracking Moses, what on earth has he been eating?
Yeah, exactly.
I do agree with Keith. It's like because the thing is, realistically, in terms of screen time, in terms of in the films, it's like Keith said, he was only on screen for like a couple of minutes over a couple of films. So there is really, because it's so limited, there is a huge amount you could do, but it is all that anticipation that's happened through all the various mediums now, that you've got a vision of what you think Boba Fett is. And now it's like, well, now we're going to present you with a version of Boba Fett that you didn't think about. This is something different. Hopefully you get to the end and it's going to be something, quite a strong, he's, because I see like where I think it's going to go. I think this whole thing with the Tuscans is going to be all a part of his power play over the Hutts and all the rest of it. Come towards the end of the series, it'll be a very kind of unified kind of thing that he'll do. Like he wants to lead by respect rather than by brute force. So I think that's kind of where I think some of the show will go. But it is really, I mean, you're dealing with a character who actually you didn't really know a lot about. It's only what we've all put upon it.
The mistake they've made is they should have built upon that character. They should have built upon that character that we knew. That's my point. My point is they've completely deconstructed Boba Fett, and there was no need to do that, right? Yeah. It's like basically taking Spider-Man and then making him making him gay or making his costume. You can see he takes his costume mask off all the time. So it's completely deconstructing the character that we knew, the very little that we knew of the character. Yeah. And that's the problem I've got with this show. They haven't given us, well, in my opinion,
and this is it. But then again, we'll see it to the end, and then if it's, because this is going to tread waters, because this is it. There is a lot of, because as we all know, when you go against what the fans want, it's not a pleasant thing.
That's not how it is now. All of the big franchise people are going against what the fans want, and they don't care, right? Somebody said in a live stream that the reason why they're making these shows are not giving the fans what they want, because all they want is people to subscribe to the channel because they want to beat Netflix. So they see a show like Boba Fett's coming, and then they subscribe to the channel quickly because they want to see Boba Fett, and that's all they care about, the subscribe numbers.
Well, that's definitely why they're given.
And then politics plays into it, and they create what they want to do and shove politics. And then that's just what, and this is what we've presented by. And quite frankly, I'm getting really tired of that. So but it's just me, isn't it? I'm sure. You guys are completely different.
I'm more optimistic about it than you are, Ian. But at the same time,
I guess.
At the same time, I don't disagree with what you're saying. Obviously, if and again, this is a whole nother conversation. But if it was Netflix, it would have probably all been dropped in one go on a
probably.
Day.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
But of course, Disney are doing the weekly model because they want us to stay subscribed to the channel, to the service, for at least 8 weeks, which is the run of this. So I do absolutely see and take that point. But I've got faith in Jon Favreau. He's a Star Wars fan, and he's steering the ship, I think, to try and please fans. I feel like more than
pleasing KK at the moment.
We've had, but well, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. I'm very conscious that we have actually run longer than these 2 episodes put together. These 2 chapters. They're calling it chapters, aren't they? Put together. So I think unless you've got anything specific that you want to add about these 2 episodes or any speculation in particular, we should probably start wrapping it up.
Sorry, I just like to say that I personally want the show to get better. I mean, even though some of the stuff that I've actually said is quite negative about the show and stuff like that, as I've said in the past, I've enjoyed these 2 episodes, but it's leave the bad taste in my mouth. I so want this show to be better than a really good show that I can say, yes, I was wrong about that show. That's all I want.
All right.
But whether I'm going to get it or not is another matter.
Their honesty, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, because this is it. Because everyone does have a different expectation and anticipations of these things, especially these characters.
Yeah,
and you just want everything to be done in a respectful way, and that's in some cases with some of the stuff that we've had out. Over the past few years, that's been done well, and in a lot of cases, it hasn't. And in a lot of ways, though, people come together. No, it was. And it's like, no, it wasn't. No, it was. And then it's like, Jesus. And it just, whatever. And then you get fractions, and everyone splits off. It's no longer a unified thing. Bloody hell. That's
talking about shows and fractions and unification and whatever. I do want to just plug. We are all going to be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. UK time to talk about another franchise or limited series that has just come to an end. We're going to be deconstructing Dexter, and we're going to be looking specifically at Dexter New Blood, but we're going to talk about the Dexter franchise in its entirety and share some of our thoughts on the show. It is going to be really spoiler filled, so if you are planning to tune in and watch this, then please do note that we are going to be spoiling pretty much everything with Dexter. We're even going to have somebody on to talk about the series of novels as well, the Dexter books, so joining us, so please do find us here for that tomorrow. But in the meantime, guys, Ian, where can people find more of your work?
Yeah, they can find I've got a web series called Rebecca Gold. They can just type in Rebecca Gold into YouTube and find my channel. It's got a web series on there. It's got a couple of movies I've directed as well. Actually, Bad Day's not on that channel.
Okay.
It's on Vimeo. But if you want to see Bad Day, just send me a message on Twitter at Ian David Diaz. I'm on Twitter, and then I'll send you the link. You can watch it.
Yep. And I shall indeed put links in the show notes to these things as well. Yep. So that's cool. Claire, tell us a little bit more about your other work and your involvement in premiere scene, etc.
We have some. I basically do lots of interviews with filmmakers, and one of my latest is the lovely Alex Winter of Bill and Ted fame, and he is a documentarian as well. So he's going to be over in the UK in April doing a series of Q&As at the Prince Charles Cinema. So you will find some interviews with him that I've done. That was just before Christmas, wasn't it? And I basically talk to filmmakers about making their films, and and it's all good.
Yeah. And actually, Premiere Scene, is that right? On social media.
Premiere Scene, yeah.
Actually, I met Alex Winter at Rain Dance because we were premiering our film Killing Zone, and he was premiering his, and we were on the same table as him, me and Julian. So there you go. And I spoke to him a bit. He's a nice guy. Huh?
Yeah, he's a really nice fella.
Yeah,
I met him briefly once myself, but that wasn't.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No, he was lovely.
Cool. And Anthony, tell us about your work and Ghostbusters and cleaning up the town, remembering Ghostbusters, etc.
Where to begin?
Well,
is that you, young man?
Piece of that. We will be giving it away with any future contributions. I have it in a bag in the room if you want it. Just saying. It'll fund a dozen projects, I'm sure. So Clean Up Town, Remembering Ghostbusters is, as the name would suggest, all about the original film Ghostbusters, in the 1984 film, that is, because there has been several versions now. Not when we started it, though. It was something we both made, our 12-year odyssey in getting it completed, and finally came out at the end of 2019. But it's still doing the rounds. It's up on the various platforms.
It is, in the US, it's available on all the VOD platforms, and in the UK, it's also available on VOD and also on Blu-ray, which you can buy via Bueno Productions website, or it's on Amazon as Avi, HMV, FOP. You can also get it in the shops as well. So, we're very, very proud of it.
If you like, deep dives into making ofs, then, and this is all about Ghostbusters, obviously, but it's also very much about the people, not just like the main talent, but everybody behind the scenes, that all that kind of talent that goes into kind of creating a film in the 1980s when it was all photochemical and stuff. So it's very much a love letter to that era of film and filmmaking. So that is Clean Up Town Remembering Ghostbusters, which hopefully we'll have the second one out, to What Towns Remember Ghostbusters 2 in the relatively near future.
Cool. And if you want to see a review of the physical media Blu-ray version of that, then please do check that out on this channel, Home Media Minefield. As well as live streams, I also do product unboxings and reviews of films on physical media, Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, etc. I do also have another channel called British Isles. That's EYLES, as in my last name. And I've got some short films on there, half a dozen short films that I made. So if you want to see some of my creative work, check that out. I've got a thing called the Urban Chiller Tales on there, which are a series of thrillers, let's say that, short thrillers. And I am actually working on a feature at the moment called Car Cam, which is started filming before the COVID, but now hopefully I'm going to get back to finishing that. And you can also find this as a podcast as well on all good podcasting apps. Let's See What's Out There, or LSWOT Cast, LSWOT Cast. So please check that out as well on all good podcasting apps. So that just leaves me to say thank you to my guests for today. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts on another Star Wars topic, which always is up for good discussion. We will be having more of these. If you've liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Any comments in the section below, links to all the other work in the section below, and please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon. But other than that, thank you to everyone, and we will see you at, well, hopefully tomorrow for Dexter.
Tomorrow.
Tune in for Deconstructing Dexter tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the next Home Media Minefield. Bye for now.
Bye.
Cheers.